Kim's stepmother and her daughter met at a secluded restaurant, tucked away from the eyes of the public. Kim's stepsister sat comfortably, scrolling through articles and news updates about Kim's death, a wide, satisfied smile spreading across her face. She appeared pleased with the media frenzy, reveling in the attention surrounding the tragedy. She then turned her attention to her mother, expressing her excitement at how they had finally done it and how shockingly easy it had all seemed. Her mother, however, didn't share her enthusiasm. She looked at her daughter with a serious expression, clearly unsettled. She explained that there was another problem and that the reason she had called for the meeting was to discuss the way forward. If they didn't act wisely now, everything could unravel and end disastrously for them both. Concerned, her daughter leaned in and asked what the issue was. Her mother revealed that Kim's father, her husband, might be suspecting something. She explained that ever since he had shared what Sunj had told him, his behavior had shifted. He had become distant, more withdrawn, and now that Kim had been killed, she was certain his suspicions had intensified. Kim's stepsister sat quietly, studying her mother's face as she spoke. She hadn't anticipated complications. In her mind, everything was supposed to be simple. They would get rid of Kim, and then proceed with the rest of their plans. She hadn't accounted for the emotional ripple effects or the investigative consequences. Sensing her daughter's rising panic, the mother reassured her not to worry. As long as Minsu didn't have solid evidence, they could continue to deny everything. Her daughter, now visibly tense, asked what would happen if Minsu did have evidence. What if she had recorded their conversation? But the mother remained calm and composed. She reasoned that if Minsu had a recording, she would have already handed it over to Kim's father. The fact that she hadn't done so yet meant she likely didn't have anything concrete, just words. And words, the mother said, were easy to dismiss. They could simply claim that Minsu was lying out of jealousy, spite, or some hidden agenda. She glanced at her daughter, whose expression had turned cold and distant. Curious, she asked her what she was thinking. Her daughter leaned closer and suggested a far darker idea. What if they simply got rid of Minsu and Sunj as well? That way, no one would be left to know anything, and their tracks would be completely covered. The mother was quick to shut down the suggestion. She reminded her daughter that they had already taken one life and were planning to take another. Adding more deaths would only complicate things further and risk exposing them. Instead, she insisted that they stay focused on the original plan, getting rid of Kim's father. Once he was out of the way, the narrative could be spun easily. They could blame his death on heartbreak or even suicide, claiming he was overwhelmed with guilt and regret over losing his daughter. Kim's stepsister eventually let out a satisfied smile, praising her mother's cunning and calling her smart. She agreed that the sooner they executed the plan, the better. Her mother nodded, explaining that once Kim's father was gone, no one would care enough to investigate further. She added that she would personally handle everything, since she was the one closest to him. It wouldn't be difficult to manipulate the situation and carry out the plan unnoticed. With that settled, the two women sat back and sipped their wine, fully convinced that their twisted plan was unfolding perfectly, believing that soon everything would fall into place exactly as they had envisioned.